Are you over 60 and finding that simple things like climbing a flight of stairs or carrying groceries feel harder than they used to? You might chalk it up to just aging, but here's the truth. Much of that decline is not inevitable. It's something doctors call sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength with age. And what's fascinating is this: the very first meal you eat each morning can either accelerate that decline or begin reversing it in as little as 24 hours. Now, why is this such a big deal? Muscles are not just about looking fit or staying strong. They're an active, living organ system. Your muscles help regulate blood sugar. They protect your joints. They store amino acids that your body needs for repair. And they even communicate with your brain using chemical messengers called mitochondria. When your muscles begin to break down, a chain reaction is set in motion. Balance declines. Insulin resistance rises. Metabolism slows. And the risks falls, fractures, loss of independence start climbing rapidly. Research shows that after age 60, people can lose up to 1% of their muscle mass every single year, unless they intervene. But here's the hopeful news. What you choose for breakfast can flip the system from muscle breakdown mode into muscle building mode. This isn't hype, it's pure physiology. Think of it this way. Building muscle works like flipping a factory switch inside your cells. A process called muscle protein synthesis. That switch responds most strongly to the first significant dose of protein and specific nutrients you give your body in the morning. If you get it right, you ignite the factory and your muscles start rebuilding. If you get it wrong, say with cereal, toast, or juice, you spend the entire morning with blood sugar swings, elevated insulin, and undernourished muscle. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine your muscles are like a savings account. Every night while you sleep, you withdraw protein reserves just to fuel immune defense, organ repair, and brain activity. By morning, the account is low. If you make a strong deposit with protein, essential amino acids, and anti-inflammatory nutrients, your account grows healthier. But if you deposit only sugar, your account stays in deficit. And over time, that deficit shows up as frailty, weakness, and slower recovery. So today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how breakfast connects to sarcopenia, leg strength, and independence after 60. We'll look at the root causes of muscle decline, the specific foods and nutrients that science shows can reverse it, why timing matters so much, and lifestyle tweaks that multiply the effects. By the end, you'll have a clear, actionable plan you can apply tomorrow morning. Let's start with one of the biggest misconceptions: protein after 60. Many people believe they're eating enough protein. They may still enjoy meat, eggs, or dairy, but the timing and the quality are often out of balance. The common pattern: a light breakfast, coffee, toast, maybe some oatmeal, followed by a heavier dinner with most of the day's protein. That pattern sets the stage for muscle decline. Here's why. Your muscles have what I call an anabolic threshold, minimum level of amino acids required to switch on muscle protein synthesis. Think of it like a light switch in a room. A tiny flicker of protein, maybe 8 to 10 grams in the morning, is like a weak turn if the key won't start the engine. You need a stronger ignition spark, about 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, to flip that switch in older adults. Research backs this up. The Journal of Nutrition has shown that elderly individuals need a higher protein dose per meal because of something called anabolic resistance. The muscle becomes less sensitive to smaller amounts of protein with age. So what's the ignition spark? It's the amino acid leucine. Leucine is abundant in foods like eggs, whey protein, lean poultry, and even fermented soy such as tempeh. When leucine levels spike in your blood, they activate a pathway in your muscle cells called mTOR, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin. Think of mTOR as the foreman on a construction site. When it gets the signal from leucine, it orders the crew to get moving. New muscle proteins start being built. Without that signal, the raw materials just sit around unused. Now let's translate this science into something practical. One of the most studied and effective breakfasts is eggs paired with a high-quality protein supplement such as whey or a leucine-fortified plant protein. 3 whole eggs plus a scoop of whey protein powder delivers roughly 30 grams of protein and about 3 grams of leucine, enough to fully activate mTOR. Add some leafy greens or a handful of berries for antioxidants, and you've created a muscle-protective anti-inflammatory breakfast. Another excellent choice: Greek yogurt with chia seeds and nuts. A cup of strained Greek yogurt provides about 20 grams of protein. Add chia and nuts, and you boost amino acids plus omega to 3 fatty acids. Now you're right around that anabolic threshold. If dairy doesn't work for you, fermented soy options like tempeh or edamame are fantastic alternatives, delivering protein along with phytonutrients that support recovery. And here's what is so important. When older adults consume higher protein in the morning, their muscle protein synthesis rates jump significantly compared to when they eat the same protein later in the day. In fact, a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that spreading protein evenly across 3 meals, rather than skewing it toward dinner, led to 25% more muscle growth throughout the day. That's the difference between just maintaining and actually building strength. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't about extreme protein intake or fad diets. It's about precision, timing, and adequate dosing. If you're over 60, your muscles don't respond the way they did in your 20s. You need to hit that switch harder and earlier in the day to prevent decline. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing to Health 365 Day. I share science-based strategies every day to help you protect your strength, independence, and longevity naturally. So here's the first major takeaway. Aim for at least 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at breakfast. With leucine in the mix, that one shift can begin reversing sarcopenia and restoring leg strength in as little as 24 hours. But protein isn't the only lever you need to pull. There is another hormone at play that most people overlook, and it determines whether your muscles are nourished or starved. That hormone is insulin. Most of us only think about insulin in the context of diabetes, but here's the truth. Insulin is one of the most powerful levers for muscle health, and breakfast is the single most important meal to get this right. Here's what happens inside your body. If you eat a high-carbohydrate breakfast cereal, bagels, fruit juice, even a so-called healthy muffin, your blood sugar shoots up. Your pancreas responds by pumping out insulin, which clears sugar from your blood into your cells. Sounds harmless, right? Here's the problem. When insulin surges, it doesn't just move sugar, it also pushes more of it into fat storage, shuts down fat burning, and makes muscle cells less responsive to growth signals. Over time, especially after 60, many people develop insulin resistance, meaning their cells stop responding well to insulin. This sets the stage for weight gain, fatigue, and, most importantly, accelerated muscle loss. Think of insulin like a traffic cop. When sugar traffic is heavy, the cop waves it into the fat storage lane to keep the highway clear. But if the cop is constantly directing traffic all day long thanks to sugary meals, your muscles rarely get the building blocks and fuel they need. They sit idle while fat storage keeps growing. The goal isn't to eliminate insulin. You need it. The key is to control the morning spike so your muscles stay sensitive and responsive. And here's the exciting part. Research in diabetes care shows that older adults who eat a high-protein, lower-carbohydrate breakfast maintain better insulin sensitivity and higher muscle protein synthesis compared to those who start the day with refined carbs. In other words, what you eat at 8 a.m. sets the hormonal tone for the next 12 hours. So how do you apply this? Step 1. Swap high-glycemic foods for nutrient-dense options. Instead of cereal or toast, build breakfast around protein eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein smoothie. Add fiber from vegetables, chia seeds, or flax to slow glucose absorption. Include healthy fats from avocado or nuts to keep the blood sugar curve steady. Step 2. Time your carbs wisely. If you enjoy fruit, pair it with protein. For example, mix berries into your protein shake or slice half a banana over Greek yogurt with walnuts. This slows sugar release and keeps insulin controlled. Save starchier carbs like oats, sweet potatoes, or quinoa for after physical activity, when your muscles act like sponges and absorb glucose efficiently. Step 3. Hydrate before caffeine. Cortisol is naturally high in the morning. Adding caffeine plus sugar on an empty stomach can spike blood sugar even more. Drinking water or green tea first helps regulate that response and primes your metabolism. And here's a powerful study to underscore this point. The Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that older adults who consumed a low glycemic breakfast had muscles that used glucose more efficiently, and insulin levels stayed lower the entire day. The result? Stronger legs, steadier energy, and more efficient fat burning. Let's pause for a moment and use an analogy to make this clear. Imagine your muscles are like a dry sponge first thing in the morning. They're primed and ready to soak up nutrients. But if you pour a bucket of sugar water over them, like a bowl of cereal or fruit juice, that sponge clogs up and loses its ability to absorb. If instead you pour a steady stream of clean water mixed with amino acids, the sponge drinks deeply and fully. That's the difference between a sugary breakfast and a protein-centered low-glycemic breakfast. So here's the takeaway. Controlling insulin in the morning isn't about cutting out all carbs or depriving yourself. It's about strategic fueling. A balanced breakfast with protein, fiber, and healthy fats keeps insulin sensitivity high, so that when you do introduce carbs later, ideally after movement to your muscles, use them for fuel rather than storing them as fat. Now, there is another hidden factor that doesn't get enough attention in conversations about muscle loss: inflammation. Most people only think of inflammation when it comes to arthritis, an injury, or swelling. But the truth is that low-grade chronic inflammation quietly chips away at muscle tissue every single day. After age 60, it's as one of the silent accelerators of sarcopenia. Here's what's happening inside your body. When inflammation levels are high, your immune system releases signaling molecules called cytokines. In moderation, these molecules help fight infection and heal wounds. But when they're chronically elevated, they actually interfere with muscles' ability to respond to growth signals. It's like trying to build a house in the middle of a storm. The construction crew may be ready, but heavy winds and rain keep slowing progress. This is why eating protein alone isn't always enough. If the inflammatory storm isn't calmed, your muscles won't fully respond to those building blocks. But here's the good news. Certain foods at breakfast can deliver powerful anti-inflammatory nutrients that directly protect and support your muscles. One of the best studied is omega-3 fatty acids. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that supplementing with omega-3 South actually improves muscle protein synthesis in older adults, especially when combined with light resistance activity. Omega-3 South make your muscle tissue more sensitive to protein, meaning they help you get more out of every bite. So, what does this look like on your plate? Instead of a bagel with cream cheese, picture a smoked salmon and avocado omelette. You've got high-quality protein from the eggs, omega-3 fats from the salmon, and anti-inflammatory monounsaturated fats from the avocado. Add some spinach or kale, and you're layering in antioxidants like vitamin C, lutein, and beta-carotenol, of which help neutralize free radicals inside muscle cells. Another great option is a chia and flaxseed pudding made with Greek yogurt or almond milk. Both chia and flax are rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3, plus fiber to stabilize blood sugar. Top it with blueberries, and you've added anthocyanins compounds, shown to reduce oxidative stress in muscle tissue. And don't forget about spices. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory agents we know of. A 2019 study published in Nutrients found that curcumin supplementation improved muscle recovery and reduced exercise-induced inflammation in older adults. You can easily add turmeric to scrambled eggs or blend it into a morning smoothie with a pinch of black pepper to boost absorption. Let's use another analogy. Picture your muscle fibers as ropes. Over time, inflammation frays those ropes, teeny tears, oxidative stress, and microdamage add up. Anti-inflammatory nutrients act like a protective coating, keeping the ropes strong and resilient. Without that coating, even the best protein intake can't fully stop the ropes from slowly unraveling. So here are 3 clear steps you can take starting tomorrow. 1. Include an omega-3 source at least 3 mornings per week. Fatty fish, chia seeds, flax seeds, or a high-quality fish oil supplement if you don't get enough from food. 2. Add colorful plant foods to breakfast every day. Berries, leafy greens, or even powdered greens, if fresh isn't available. The pigments are often antioxidants that protect your muscles. 3. Use anti-inflammatory spices. Turmeric, cinnamon, and ginger don't just add flavor, they literally change the chemical environment in your muscle tissue. The big picture here is simple. Fighting sarcopenia is not just about eating enough protein. It's about creating the right internal environment where muscles can grow and thrive. Anti-inflammatory foods at breakfast lower the storm so the rebuilding process can happen. Combine protein with omega-3s, antioxidants, and healing spices, and you're setting your body up for repair and strength from the very first meal. Now, let's move deeper, because here's something most people never hear even from their doctor. The strength of your legs is not just about the size of your muscles, it's about the energy factories inside those muscles, the mitochondria. Mitochondria are tiny structures inside your cells that produce ATP, adenosine, triphosphate, the energy currency that powers every single contraction of your quadriceps, hamstrings, and calves. When mitochondria are plentiful and efficient, your legs feel springy and strong. When they're sluggish, even walking across the room feels like trudging through mud. After 60, mitochondrial function naturally declines. That means fewer energy factories per cell, and those that remain don't work as efficiently. The result: fatigue, slower walking speed, difficulty climbing stairs, all classic signs of sarcopenia. But here's the exciting part. Nutrition, especially what you eat at breakfast, can actually stimulate mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria. Here's a way to picture it. Imagine your muscles are like a city. Each mitochondrion is a power plant. If the city is running on just a handful of old, failing plants, you get rolling blackouts, slow energy, slow recovery. But if you build new, clean power plants and feed them quality fuel, the whole city lights up and thrives. That's what happens when you support mitochondrial health through food. So what fuels these energy plants? First, polyphenols. These are plant compounds found in foods like blueberries, pomegranates, and green tea. A study in Frontiers in Physiology found that polyphenols stimulate a key regulator. Third, high-quality protein. Remember leucine and mTOR. They don't just build fibers, they also indirectly support mitochondrial health. When muscles grow, mitochondria adapt and expand to meet the new energy demand. Here's a fascinating study. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen found that older adults who consumed polyphenol-rich foods and paired them with light exercise saw significant improvements in mitochondrial density in their leg muscles after just a few weeks. That meant more endurance, faster walking speed, and greater resistance to fatigue. So what does this look like in real life? One powerful breakfast might be a spinach and blueberry protein smoothie. Blend whey or plant protein with a handful of spinach, a cup of blueberries, and green tea as the liquid base. Add a teaspoon of flax or chia seeds for omega-3 support. That one meal gives you protein, leucine, antioxidants, and polyphenols all in one. Another option is a pomegranate and walnut yogurt bowl. Pomegranate seeds contain tannins, a polyphenol that your gut bacteria turn into urolithin AA, compound that directly stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis. Add walnuts for extra polyphenols and healthy fats, and you've created a mitochondrial powerhouse meal. Here's the big picture. If you want strong legs after 60, you can't just think about muscle fibers. You need to think about the mitochondria inside them. Every step, every stair climb is powered by these engines. Feed them with polyphenols, coenzyme Q10, omega-3s, and quality protein, and you'll feel the difference in endurance and leg strength. But there's another layer most people overlook. When you eat can be just as important as what you eat, especially after 60. When your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, becomes more sensitive to timing. Your circadian rhythm is orchestrated by light, sleep, and food intake. In the morning, cortisol naturally rises to wake you up and mobilize energy. This is the perfect window for nutrient absorption and muscle activation. Eating protein early in the day allows you to ride that hormonal wave, amplifying muscle protein synthesis and stabilizing blood sugar. But if you skip breakfast or delay protein until later in the afternoon, you miss that prime window. Your muscles stay understimulated, and the whole day's growth potential shrinks. Think of it like planting seeds. If you plant them first thing in the morning, with plenty of sunlight, they sprout strong. But if you plant them at sunset, they barely take root. Muscle protein synthesis works the same way. It needs morning light and morning fuel to fully activate. Now, let's circle back to the question we started with. What should you eat for breakfast if you're over 60 and want to protect your legs from weakness and sarcopenia? We've talked about insulin control, protein quality, anti-inflammatory foods, and even mitochondria. But I know some of you might be thinking, okay, Dr. Turner, just tell me what to put on my plate. So let's put all of this together into practical breakfast blueprints you can use tomorrow morning. Blueprint 1. The protein-powered omelette. 3 whole eggs plus 2 extra egg whites gives a rich source of leucine and complete protein. 1/2 avocado gives healthy fats to keep. But breakfast isn't just about food. It's also the perfect moment to weave in movement rituals that supercharge everything you just ate. Here's why. After a protein-rich breakfast, amino acids are circulating in your bloodstream, ready to be absorbed into muscle. If you perform even 5 to 10 minutes of light resistance movement right then, like squats at the counter, heel raises or seated leg extensions, you send a clear signal to your muscles. Hey, use those building blocks right here. Think of it like directing a delivery truck. The protein is the cargo, but without the movement signal, it might get delivered to fat storage instead. With even gentle activity, the delivery goes straight to your muscles, where it belongs. A few examples you can try while the coffee is brewing. Chair squats, sit and stand, 10 times from a chair, slowly and controlled. Calf raises, rise up on your toes and hold for 3 seconds, repeat 15 times. Wall push-ups, great for upper body strength, but also activates your core, supporting balance. Marching in place, lifts circulation, wakes up the mitochondria, and primes the nervous system. Combine these with a strong breakfast, and you're essentially telling your body, grow stronger today. But I want to take this one step further. Because muscle isn't just about appearance or strength, it's about independence. Think about it. The ability to walk upstairs, carry groceries, or rise from the floor, all of it hinges on leg strength. When sarcopenia advances, everyday life shrinks. People stop traveling because walking is tiring. They avoid social gatherings because standing for long periods is uncomfortable. Even small pleasures, gardening, dancing, playing with grandkids, slip away. This is why I'm so passionate about this message. Every breakfast is an opportunity to fight back. Every forkful of protein, every bite of anti-inflammatory food, every sip of polyphenol-rich tea is a vote for your future independence. And the science is absolutely clear. It works. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of the American Medical Directors Association found that older adults who consumed higher quality protein breakfasts, paired with resistance activity, preserved significantly more lean muscle over a 3-year span compared to those who didn't. The difference wasn't subtle, it was the difference between staying active versus struggling with daily mobility. So when you sit down tomorrow morning, I want you to think of your breakfast not as just food. Think of it as medicine for your muscles, the most powerful prescription you can write for yourself without stepping foot in a pharmacy. Now, let me leave you with a final simple formula. I call it the M3 breakfast formula. Muscle, at least 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein. Metabolism, add omega-3s, south or healthy fats to keep insulin sensitivity sharp. Mitochondria, include one source of polyphenols or antioxidants to fuel your energy factories. That's it, M3. If you remember that, you'll never have to wonder what to eat for breakfast again. So here's your action plan. 1. Tomorrow morning, choose one of the blueprints. Don't overthink it, just pick one and start. 2. Add 5 minutes of movement right after eating. Chair squats, calf raises, or marching, whatever feels doable. 3. Stay consistent for 4 weeks. Track how your legs feel on stairs, during walks, and even just standing from a chair. I can almost guarantee you'll notice more stability, more strength, and less fatigue. And most importantly, you'll feel more in control of your own body. Because here's the truth, sarcopenia is not an unavoidable part of aging. It's not destiny. With the right choices, you can not only slow it, you can actively reverse it. So the next time you hear someone say, "I'm getting weaker because I'm just getting older," you'll know that's only part of the story. The real story is this: every morning, with the food you choose and the small actions you take, you have the power to write a different ending.